Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to tell you about my little red dress project dress. So I initially wasn't going to do the little red dress project because I am just getting started sewing again in my little tiny apartment and I was on kind of a time crunch, but then I found this gorgeous silk plaid and I fell in love and I knew I had to use it to make the dress. This plaid is a 100% silk dupioni and the plaid is actually woven into the design, which means that individually dyed yarns of the different colors, red, green, navy, there's some white and yellow in here, are woven together to create the plaid, which means it's really high quality, but it also means there is some variation in the plaids. So I had a little bit of a challenge matching the plaids. I also chose to use the cross grain of this fabric because it has more of the defined stripe on it, and I wanted that defined stripe to be vertical on my body as opposed to horizontal because we all know that's more flattering. The dress I made was this Cynthia Rowley pattern number 8086. I think it's really pretty. It's got this nice overlay and a cool back and a pleated skirt. I pretty much only used the pattern for the bodice and the bodice overlay. I pleated the skirt myself because I wanted to match the plaids. I would also say this was the first home sewing pattern that I've used since I was a freshman in undergrad, so it's been a while, and I initially chose to make a size 20 because I have nice curvy hips and I was trying to make a good average of all the sizes. I was smart though and prototyped it and saw just how much ease there was, especially in the bodice of this dress, so I actually ended up sewing a size down, and then I still had to take it in the end because there was so much ease. So I'm really happy I prototyped the bodice, and I would definitely recommend to anyone who's sewing really anything in the future to prototype their product as well. It is also worth noting that it's only necessary to prototype the parts of a garment that is fitted to your body. So in this case, only the bodice was fitted and the skirt was an A-line pleated skirt, and so only fitting the bodice in a prototype was necessary to make sure I ended up making the right size garment. And in sewing this, I did find a little bit of a difficulty. There is a bodice lining, an overlay, and an overlay lining. And so it's 4 layers of fabric that all come together to create the bodice, which is fine, but when it comes to putting the bodice to the bodice lining, the pattern instructions have you sew both armholes together and then attempt to flip it right side out, which is physically impossible. It creates a Morpheus loop where you're just turning and turning and turning and turning and turning, and it never actually turns out correctly. So I didn't realize that until I had already sewn both armholes. So I had to take one armhole stitch line out and then turn it, and then theoretically, I could have sewn the other armhole on by machine, but I just chose to sew one armhole in the entire neckline by hand because I wanted it to look really good and I was afraid things wouldn't match up very nicely if I had done it on the machine. One of the things that could have been done to avoid this Morpheus loop and this difficult construction would be to actually bind the whole thing. I kind of wish I had done it on my dress because I think a binding of a nice navy or dark green would be gorgeous on this dress. I think it would also help break up the plaid a little bit and make it less difficult to have to perfectly match everything. Speaking of matching plaids, I'm going to insert some photos here of my plaid matches that I did. Like I said a little bit ago, this fabric wasn't woven perfectly uniformly, and so the stripes in the plaid in different places were of different widths. It wasn't a straightforward pattern matching. I had to ease or stretch in some places in order to get the plaids to perfectly line up. And as you can see, they are still off by a little bit, but that's totally fine. I think that's one of the really cool characteristics of this fabric. Other than the little Morpheus loop, I do think this pattern was really fun and easy to sew, and I would definitely recommend it as long as you keep in mind that the instructions are incorrect and you have to kind of wing it halfway through sewing the bodice. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and my dress. If you did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Miss Makes. Make sure to go over and watch Jen's video. I will link it right here. Look out in the next couple of days or weeks for a blog post on how to match plaids. It will be a really fun one. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram at Miss Rebecca Makes. And I hope you all have a very happy holiday season.